and welcome to another edition of the Creamsicle Chronicles podcast. My name is JT Olson. With me, as always, is my co-host, Garrett Ballard. Garrett, how are you on this fine evening?
I am doing very well on this fine Wednesday evening. At the time of recording, it's a Wednesday at least. I am doing great because it is victory week. The Buccaneers have won their first football game of the 2022 NFL season, and everything is great.
Yeah, let's not limit ourselves to just Victory Monday. It's Victory Tuesday. It's
Yep.
Victory Wednesday. We're riding this all week long.
That's how it is. Hey, Sunday night games, you get a little bit more extended time.
Oh, sure. I mean, you're the main attraction. Sunday night's usually the best game of the week, and everyone gets to watch when you play and when you put a whooping on a team.
Yeah, it was definitely. I think we were correct in saying that it'd be a low scoring game. I didn't think it'd be that low scoring from one half of the game. I also thought the Bucs would have scored like one more touchdown, but we'll touch on that later, of course, when we go into the depth or go in depth on the game. But yeah, always a win is a win in the NFL. Any win is important. Every win is important. So getting that first one down against a pretty solid Cowboys team is a good step.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Cowboys are a solid team. And we talked last week when we previewed it. We both kind of feel like the Cowboys are on the decline, like their window is closing, if not closed. But they still have pieces. Dak Prescott, still a very good quarterback. CeeDee Lamb, good young receiver. Zeke Elliott, he's been a great back at times. Micah Parsons, they've got players. Was it Trayvon Diggs?
Yeah,
Trayvon Diggs led the league in interceptions last year. So this is a Cowboys team that is not void of talent. Despite what I've been hearing all week on national media, it's what's wrong with the Cowboys? It's a terrible team. Yeah, they're not great, but this was an impressive showing for the Bucs versus a decent Cowboys team.
yeah. I impressive. I think mainly on the defensive side of the ball. I would have liked to see the offense capitalize. I think we scored on one of our. I mean, we only scored one touchdown, so just on our one of however many red zone trips we had, that obviously needs to be fixed. You can't go week to week with no red zone scoring, touchdown wise. I mean, Suckup missed a field goal, but like at that time he had already made like four. So we got to put some balls in the end zone. But the defense was phenomenal. Obviously, Dak got hurt there in the end, which is going to strain the Cowboys a little bit more in this season than they probably would have hoped. But the defense did everything they needed to do to shut down a team with some solid pieces. I think. What was it? You said Zeke would have under how many yards rushing?
I said 50.
How many did he have? Do you know?
I think he had like 52, so he was right there.
Right on the cusp. I think I nailed it on the head saying that Dak would have under 200 yards passing. I know the injury helped that, but I don't think he would have gotten there anyway. I was off the mark a little bit with Joe Tryon-Shoyinka getting 2 sacks. It was actually Devin White, but Tryon-Shoyinka had a great showing. I think he was really disruptive and showed me enough to say that I'm comfortable with how he's going to perform this season. Antoine Winfield, my projected defensive player of the year for this team, had a pick that was read beautifully. That was an awesome play. I think Carlton Davis might have had a pick on that same play as well.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows, because that guy's got brick for hands. But it was a tremendous showing. I think Shaq Barrett had one of the second highest pressure rate in the NFL, first or second highest pressure rate in the NFL in week 1. Awesome game from the defense.
Yeah, defense looked great everywhere from the pass rush. Shaq Barrett, I don't think he ever got home on a sack, but he was in the backfield all night.
Oh yeah, just always
causing problems. He's the one who injured Dak Prescott because it was in his face and he actually hit his hand while he was releasing the ball
twice.
Yeah, I think they were back-to-back plays, so he was in there all the time.
Yeah, it was. I was watching it with my roommate, who's also a Bucs fan. We're both from Tampa, and he was like, defense is just lights out right now. I was like, yeah, this is crazy. I know like last year was up and down at some points, and last year this same defense got torched by the Cowboys offense. CeeDee Lamb went for a ton of yards, but Carlton Davis was absolutely shut down. I mean, that guy didn't give him an inch. He had, what, 2 catches, CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah, I think for not very many yards. I
Yeah,
want to say
like
under 20 yards.
Yeah, it was not a lot.
I can double check that.
Yeah, I think it was like at most it had to be like 20. The dude got shut down. It was just a domination from top to bottom on the defense. I was very, very enthused to see that. And Mike Edwards, I think, had some nice plays in there as well, breaking up some balls. Jamel Dean looked awesome on the outside. I was a big, big fan of that. Akeem Hicks and Vita Vea did what they needed to do, just plug the middle, be the big guys in there. Logan Hall played some. I didn't see how he did specifically. I was just watching the game as a whole. Did you see any of him at all?
I haven't got a chance to go back and rewatch and kind of break down the game, but
Yeah.
I know he had some splash plays.
Yeah.
I think he had a tackle for a loss in the game, and I think he beat Zach Martin to do it. So
I think you're right.
I think he made his presence felt as part of the rotation, which was a really good sign.
Yeah, and if it's against Zach Martin, like, you don't have a better test in the NFL in terms of guard pressure. Like, that's the best guard in the NFL. I'm literally going to look it up right now, see if there was anything that happened.
And then just to follow up, CeeDee Lamb, 2 catches, 29 yards.
29 yards, so he had under 30 yards. That is pretty darn good. That's a top-tier receiver in the league, top young receiver in the league with a pretty good quarterback thrown to him. Yeah, that's great. I'm looking at – there's a play right here, Logan Hall.
And while you're looking that up, I do want to say – I want to put context to this. The Cowboys traded away Amari Cooper, who was their number 1 last year.
Yeah.
They had no Michael Gallup in this game. So they were shorthanded.
Yeah.
But the Bucs secondary and linebackers, the coverage was suffocating. There was no room for anyone to breathe.
Yeah, I think also – like you said, the linebackers, obviously. I mean, there's a clip of Devin on the pick. They were running Tampa 2. Devin White is carrying CeeDee Lamb up. Like, we know he's fast. I'd never seen Devin White cover a wide receiver that close in his career. The guy was outstanding. Last weekend, Levante David looks normal. I know last year he was dealing with a bit of a foot injury, so he's a bit slower. He was flying all over the field. This is the Bucs defense that won them the Super Bowl. I mean, just from week one. I don't want to say that it's going to continue all season, but this week 1 performance was as good as you're going to see.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway was Devin White. I mean, we know he can rush the passer. We know what he is sideline to sideline in terms of tackles. Led the team, I think, with 8 tackles this game.
Yeah.
His coverage was better than I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
And he was right there to break up the pass on the 4th and 2 play, which really he was so on top of it. That should have been a pick 6. I mean, that really easily could have been touched on the other way.
But it went like through his hands. I was like, okay. I was like I said, I was watching that. I was like, that was going to be a pick 6 if he caught it. Like, He was not getting caught. By the way, I just sent you the Logan Hall clip that we were thinking of on Twitter. If you want to check that out,
I do want to check it out, and I'm going to give it a retweet.
Yeah, but just to like highlight it for the audio viewers, I don't know if you can pull it up on here. That'd be kind of nice. But Logan Hall pretty much gets inside Zach Martin's chest and just long arms him and just carries him until he's next to Tony Pollard and then just sheds the block and tackles him for a loss. Really, really nice play from a rookie against one of the best guard in the league. So,
yeah, and watching this clip, Zach Martin, where he's so good, is getting out in space, moving down the line, getting to the second level. Logan Hall beats him going down the line. This is Zach Martin doing what Zach Martin does best, and Logan Hall beating him.
I'm going to try and pull this up on the broadcast real quick.
If you can, that would be great. I don't know how to do it, but
I think I do. So I'm going to give it a try. We've never really – I'm going to share screen. Window. Nope. Chrome tab. This one. Share. Are we there?
Oh, I have it. I'm adding it.
Oh, yes.
Now we're talking.
We're going to go full screen. Logan Hall right here, number 90. Here's Zach Martin. He's right over him. Gets off the snap well. There's the long arm. Shed, swim move, tackle. Amazing play. That's a great play. from the rookie. We'll watch it one more time here.
All you listening the podcast version, this is why you should check us out live Wednesday night, 9:30 every week.
Hey, we'll bring some more film breakdown. We haven't really had the chance to do that, but we both are film junkies at heart, so we'll do that whenever we're given the chance. But yeah, I was thrilled with what I saw from the defense. We're going on and on about it, but it was outstanding.
Yeah, and obviously Bucs currently lead the league in scoring defense, only allowing 3 points, and I expect that to continue. And we'll talk more about it when we talk about this week's game. We preview that a little bit, but this team, if the secondary is going to play like this every week, there's no reason why this isn't the best defense in the NFL.
Oh yeah, I mean, I believe personally, and I think just the league is trending this way. Pass rush is it's still important, but not as important as pass coverage. With how many people are opting for pass first quarterbacks who have big arms, you need a good defensive backfield, and the Bucs have one. They have one of the best in the league, have for the last couple of years. It's outstanding what I saw. Like you said, if it can keep going, this is probably the best defense in the league.
And the Bucs secondary in the last few years has been their weak point.
Yep.
And
it's not like their key players are the same.
Mm-hmm. Just older, more experienced.
Yeah, which is awesome. I love it. I did want to say real quick, Todd Bowles' defense was just going crazy. He was giving them looks that are just mind-boggling. I remember one of them, it was he dropped Tryon Shoyinka and Shaq Barrett as linebackers and rushed both Levante David and Devin White off the edge or through this. I think what it was is he dropped Shoyinka and Barrett. Hall and Vea were on the edge, and then David and White were rushing up the middle, which is crazy. That's just putting everyone out of position, but it worked. And it caught the Cowboys off guard, and we got a no gain on it. It was outstanding. But
I love that axe blitz they do, where the Mike linebackers cross and then attack both A gaps, and it tripped the Cowboys up. I think they got one of their Devin White sacks on that play. It was a lot of fun.
And I do want, like you said earlier, I kind of want to highlight Devin White because all the love from a linebacker in this game went to Micah Parsons. Rightfully so. That guy's a stud. But Devin White did what he does, plus covered. Micah Parsons was primarily a edge rusher this game, and when he wasn't, he was kind of just like a spy. Devin White, we know he can rush the passer, and it was a big up your pass coverage because this is a big year for you, and he looks like he has. So. Shout out Devin White. That guy's a stud. I have your Super Bowl jersey for a reason, man.
Yeah, and I'm all for Micah Parsons getting hype because he's part of my big money parlay bet. But Devin White was the better player in this game. His coverage was excellent. He had the same amount of sacks, and what he does sideline to sideline, Micah Parsons can do too, but he's more of a pass rusher, like you said. He's used in that way, where White is kind of more of a pick your spot kind of pass rusher, equally effective in some ways.
There are different players. But.
Yeah, they're similar athletes, but they're used differently. Micah Parsons is more traditional outside pass rusher who is a middle linebacker as well. He did that in college, and he can do that at this level.
Right.
But he's used more pass rusher, where White is just a middle linebacker who you blitz occasionally, and he's effective at it.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about on the defense?
I think this was a big game for Jamel Dean, and you mentioned him earlier. He looked great. And this was a big competition all training camp. Is it going to be Sean Murphy-Bunting? Is it going to be Jamel Dean? Murphy-Bunting's ahead on the depth chart. Dean took the job at the end of camp. And it looked like it was the right decision. And
Murphy-Bunting didn't play.
Strong fan. Yeah, didn't play a snap.
Aside from special teams.
Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is a reflection of how good Dean was. Carlton Davis is the number one on this team, unquestioned, but Dean was every bit as good in this game.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. I mean, the entire secondary, the defense was just I cannot criticize the thing the defense did because they were amazing. I can, however, criticize the offense, and specifically their red zone offense because, as we said, they only scored on one trip and they were down there a lot. The one trip was that fade to Mike Evans over Trayvon Diggs. That one-handed, the photos outstanding. Like that's one of the best photos I've ever seen. But yeah, that's got to get cleaned up. We have the weapons. Obviously, we have Chris Godwin and Donovan Smith now out with um, injuries. They're both kind of day to day, week to week, from what I've read. But with the offense this team has, Leonard Fournette running really well, Julio Jones looking outstanding, Mike Evans looking like Mike Evans. There should be no reason why this team cannot score in the red zone.
So before I jump into the negative of the offense, the biggest thing about that Mike Evans touchdown, which just warmed my heart, coming into this game, he was tied 36th all-time on the all-time receiving touchdown list, tied with Dez Bryant, Cowboy great. So that touchdown he scored put him ahead of Dez Bryant on the all-time touchdown list.
Wow.
So in Dallas, over their star corner.
That's crazy.
I love to see it.
Sorry to rub it in more, Cowboys fans. Dang, that's my bad. But but yeah, that's a good stat. I didn't realize that. That's cool.
Oh yeah, I'm big on the Mike Evans all-time touchdown counter this year.
As you should be. I mean, he's probably gonna catch another 10 plus.
And he's already tied 34th all-time at just 29 years old. Yep. Just tied Fred Biletnikoff, all-time Hall of Famer. Wow. And correct me if I'm wrong, isn't the college football award for best receiver in college football the Fred Biletnikoff award?
It is. You are correct.
So, something there. He's a pretty good player.
He's a pretty good wide receiver. I don't know. He might be something. Only player to ever have as many 1,000-yard seasons as he does in a row out of college. He's pretty solid. I don't know. That's just me. But slander Mike Evans.
Never. Elite receiver.
Elite.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
But this was not an elite offensive night. Like you said, 5 field goal attempts is typically not going to cut it.
No.
And I think so much of it started up front. And we knew there were new additions to the offensive line, which were a question mark, specifically Luke Gedeke and Robert Hainsey, who I thought both of whom did fairly well in this game.
Mm-hmm.
But then you add the Donovan Smith injury with a hyperextended elbow, I believe it was.
Yes.
And he's potentially going to play this game. It's more of a pain issue than a long-term injury issue.
Yep.
But he missed most of this game, and Josh Wells came in and I thought did an admirable job.
I know he started out rough because Parsons got a sack right as he came in, and I was like, oh gosh, this is going to be bad. But I think he stepped up and did what he needed to do for the rest of the game for sure.
Yeah, and that's going to happen to basically any backup tackle on the leave when you leave him one-on-one with Micah Parsons.
I mean, yeah, Tristan Wirfs got beat by Micah Parsons. Like, the guy's insane, and Tristan Wirfs was the best tackle in football last year. So that's just how it goes. But yeah, I want to give a shout out. I've said it before. Keeft, insane blocker. That guy's a great blocker. He was doing the Lord's work out there. He was putting people in the dirt, I'm telling you, on their face. Leighton Vander Esch was having a horrible night.
Oh, yeah. I felt bad for him almost. But Otten did a really good job out there,
they
too.
Both did.
Both the rookie tight ends.
Otten was great. And when I saw Otten was active over Rudolph, I was like, huh, interesting. I wasn't really expecting it. He clearly earned it. The guy was phenomenal.
Yeah, and Cade Otten, he just does it all. He's a pass catcher. He's a blocker. He's a very well-rounded tight end coming into the league, which we got to see full display.
The pass catcher's got to get there. It's not there quite yet, but the blocking was great on a good defensive line. So,
which it'll have to continue to be, because that's what I thought what really hurt the Bucs was timely pressure from the Cowboys. 2 of those drives ended in sacks. I think the one that Donovan Smith led up and then the one that Josh Wells led up, both of which led to a field goal on 3rd down.
Pretty sure they were both in the red zone too. Or very
or,
close.
Or knocking on the door there, like the 22 or somewhere like that. And then he had another one where I thought the pass, it felt a little rushed. It felt like he tried to force it into Julio Jones, who wasn't open on the play.
Yeah.
So if not getting home on the sack, pressure felt like it disrupted this Bucs offense.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got to get cleaned up.
No, I agree. I mean, I think it will in time. again, first week of the season, against a team that we think is kind of still good, but not as good as they should be, probably. I think next week's going to be a bigger test for them as a unit. I think they're really going to have to be all cohesive, both offense and defense. So,
Looking away from the trenches a little bit, we know what Mike Evans is, and we knew who he was coming to this game. What were your thoughts on the new guys with Russell Gage and Julio Jones? Obviously, Julio had one fantastic catch where just the concentration to pull it in was amazing, and it was a great play. But what were your thoughts overall on these two new guys?
I mean, Julio, I mean that long ball showed me enough to tell me that he'll be solid all year. I think he got a little banged up on the play, so he probably wasn't at 100% for the rest of the game. I mean, he got up slowly. I don't really know what that was all about. Um, but like just beating a guy deep like that, that's vintage Julio Jones. Like that is just, and Brady placed it like perfectly. That was in a bucket in his hand. He just had to put his hands out and it was there. Um, Gage, I didn't see a ton from. I feel like he was kind of invisible. Um, I feel like when all of our receivers were healthy, I think Jones was in the game way more. I don't know if I'm wrong in that, but I felt like the snap count was favoring Julio.
If the snap count wasn't, Tom Brady certainly was.
Absolutely. Let me look. You talk for a little bit.
But yeah, it felt like Russell Gage was largely invisible out there for most of the game. I don't think he got his first catch till the fourth quarter.
Yep.
So I don't know if that's a getting on the field, just not being used issue, or if it's he was there, he was getting open, but Brady trusts Julio more. Julio is a future Hall of Fame receiver. So having not gone back and watched the game film, I can't really say, but he'll have to have a bigger week this week with Chris Godwin out with a hamstring injury. We don't know when he'll be back. He's week to week right now, Todd Bowles said. So I would think probably not this week or next week. We'll give it a couple weeks to let that hamstring heal. But Gage can thrive in that slot role like Godwin does, and he'll have to. Where Julio has to keep doing what he did. I thought he looked faster than I expected.
Yep.
And not just on that deep ball, but giving him the ball in the end around. That was unexpected for a 33-year-old old guy in the room.
I mean, even if he was prime, that's not how the Falcons used Julio Jones, like at all. They just send him on a route, like, which, I mean, you can't blame him. It's Julio Jones, but like that creative offense, and it worked. Like it wasn't like, oh, it got blown up. It worked. He got, I think, a first down on it.
Yeah.
Just getting ways to get the ball to your playmaker is always going to work. And if Julio Jones is your playmaker, oh, man. But I do have the snap counts right here. Julio Jones was on the field for 52% of the snaps and Russell Gage for 42. So Julio Jones was playing for more time than Russell Gage was. That could be Gage's lingering hamstring injury that he's had for pretty much the entire preseason. And up until this point, he's still in the injured list for practice as limited participant. So that might just be a thing that he has to deal with. Hopefully it heals up, but I don't know.
But even with that difference in snaps, I mean, 10% of the snap difference isn't drastic compared to the production you got from both of them.
Yeah. And I mean, even let me pull it up one more time. Even looking at like them, like 52% of the snaps is 32 snaps, and then Gage had 6 less. He had 26. So like he played 6 less snaps than Julio did. Like that's not a lot. Where's Chris Godwin? Yeah, he only played 19 snaps because of the injury early. And then Mike Evans carried with 73% of the snaps. So,
which makes sense. He's your star receiver in his prime. He's your go-to guy. He's been there the longest. He's the one you trust.
Yeah, of course. That doesn't shock me at all.
So I think there was some positives from the offense. Some things to be cleaned up. The biggest one we haven't talked about yet, Leonard Fournette, was the big star of the offense this week.
Yeah, he was phenomenal.
Well, he had almost 130 yards, 127 yards.
Yeah, he kind of just like my prediction of Rachaad White getting 75 yards and a touchdown receiving was just blown out of the water by how good he was. Like we didn't need anyone else on the field at running back except Leonard Fournette. Like he was great.
Yeah, and I want you to know, just to make you feel bad, I took your prediction of a Rachaad White touchdown and I put it in my parlay, and it only busted because of that one pick. So
Yeah, that's my bad. That's my bad.
appreciate that.
I'll take the blame. That's tough.
But you're right. Fournette was great. There was no need to have Rashad White on the field. Let him ease into the league a little bit. He got a couple of touches. He got a couple of carries. He didn't look bad. Didn't look great.
Right. You can tell he's got the patience though. Like it's very evident. Like he's a completely different runner than Leonard Fournette. It's like as soon as you see him touch the ball and kind of like it's like we've talked about. It's like that Le'Veon Bell-esque just wait and find a hole that opens up. Whether it works for him is yet to be seen because the Bucs offensive line seemingly had no issues instantly creating running lanes for Fournette. So
kind of talking about Fournette, and I remember seeing this in the broadcast. They were very successful running left. When Donovan Smith was in there, after he was in there.
Yeah.
That was Josh Wells and Luke Gedeke.
Yeah.
Most of the game.
I just wonder if that was like away from Parsons or like away from DeMarcus Lawrence,
Potentially.
But either way, that's a good sign for two people that you are concerned with offensive line wise. I mean, you can't have successful running without successful blocking for the most part. Mm-hmm. So that's a big sign.
And my thought is, I mean, if you got Parsons and Lawrence, you'd want to line them up on the left where they're inexperienced as opposed to Tristan Wirfs.
I'd agree. I would agree.
And even watching a little bit of the game, I'm trying to keep an eye on Gedeke and Hainsey because they are the big question marks. I thought Gedeke looked great in the things he's good with.
Yeah.
Getting out in space on pulls, getting to the second level, he's great at that. And I don't want to use that too loosely. He is a rookie. He's got a lot to improve on. He's not a great player yet. But those things he's very good at on the move. You can see he's going to be a very good guard when he cleans up some of his technical deficiencies.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's done nothing in like the 3 games that I've seen him play. He's done nothing but get better. I mean, you talk about the Texans game, he was put in that starting role, struggled a lot. Then the Colts game looked better, but still like limited reps against full-time starters because it's the preseason. And then this game is full-time reps against full-time starters the entire game. And he, I thought, did very well.
Yeah, I thought this was a great first game for an inexperienced player.
Yep, I'd agree. Anything else you want to touch on offensive-wise?
I think the Cowboys are not a great defense. They have some great players, but overall it's a very middle-of-the-road unit.
Yep.
I think we're going to learn a lot more about this Bucs offense this week versus the Saints.
I'd agree. And real quick, before we get to that game against the Saints, we're just going to take a couple-minute break from Bucs football and talk about just NFL football in general, talk about things that stood out to you just very briefly, nothing too in-depth. So why don't you start us out there, JT?
So the big game I was following this week outside of the Bucs was the Saints versus the Falcons. And that game was a lot closer than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
That was a last-minute field goal from the Saints away from a Falcons win at home.
Yep.
And there were a lot of things to it. Not only was the game close, but I really wanted to see what Michael Thomas looked like coming back after his injury last year kept him out the whole season.
Yep.
Came back with 2 touchdowns. So It looks like he's going to be back full strength this year. Jarvis Landry had over 110 yards. Jameis Winston, no interceptions. I thought
he almost had one.
Oh, he always almost has one. It feels like there's always at least one Jameis ball in the game.
Yeah.
But for a game that the Saints almost lost to a pretty bad Falcons team, I thought there were a lot of positives for New Orleans, which I really didn't want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you're going to take away a negative that kind of favors the Bucs, it's the amount of sacks they surrendered. How much was it? Like 6?
4 sacks.
It was 4?
Mm-hmm.
Why did I think it was more than that?
Probably some pressures in general.
I was like, mine's going to be from the Thursday game because I was traveling all day on Sunday. I was in the sky. But I was on a plane, so I didn't get to catch a ton of games just because airport stuff. But I'm just going to keep it limited. Michael Thomas looked good. I still think it's a tough matchup for the Bucs, even if they looked pretty mediocre against a bad Falcons team. Um, I still think the Bucs should win, but I think it's going to be a tough game as always because they just have our number.
Sure. One thing that gives me hope for this week, and we'll dive into the game a little bit here. Saints allowed 200 plus rushing yards and got 0 sacks. Not a great showing from the D line.
And that's a bad Falcons O line. That's like the worst O line in the league, in my opinion. They are bad. Yeah. My takeaway: the Rams looked pretty stinky against the Bills, who definitely did not look stinky. Von Miller is still that guy. Matthew Stafford, I don't know. He looked pretty shaky. I was not very impressed with his game. The Rams still a good team, obviously. I just think the Bills are something else. I think that's more so my takeaway than the Rams. I just think the Bills are very good. I think we all knew that, but I think that game should elevate people to really see how good they are. Like, I know there were Rams people out there that are going to be like, there's no reason the Bills should be favored against the Super Bowl champions, but like, they're gross. Like, the Bills are Josh Allen is, if I were a betting man, I'd put money on him for the MVP, and I would have 10 months ago. Like, as soon as last season ended, that money was down, like, or it would have been. That guy's a stud, and the Bills are going to be good as long as they have him. So,
yeah, well, I am a betting man, and Josh Allen MVP is part of my big money parlay with Micah Parsons, Defensive Player of the Year. So
that's a good one. That's a good one. But those are two good ones to bet. I think you got some good choices there.
I just need my offensive and defensive rookies of the year to come through.
What are those?
Defensive is Aiden Hutchinson. Offensive, Chris Olave.
Oh, okay. So last week definitely didn't instill you with confidence on that front.
It wasn't a great start, but it's a long season. You got
a 2-point, right? You got a 2-point conversion, right?
Yeah. He found the end zone.
Yeah,
got a couple of catches for I think like 50 yards. So
like you said, long season. But moving on to the Bucs Saints game that is coming up this next weekend. Bucs are traveling to New Orleans. Always a treat to play the Saints. Whether you like it or not, like them or not, these are always entertaining games. It's a big rivalry. The teams play each other hard. You got the Marshawn Lattimore, Mike Evans stuff. You got Slant Boy versus Carlton Davis. And then Jameis Winston. I mean, last time he played the Bucs, he tore his ACL. It's a big game. This is a good Saints team. JT and I talked about it. People are kind of sleeping on the Saints. We think they are a very well-built roster. I think they have one of the smartest GMs in the NFL. And they know how to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They could lose to the worst team in the league, get thrashed by them, and then come and beat the Bucs the next week. They just know how to beat them.
Yeah, and in a week one where we saw the Rams and Packers both look terrible, there's a realistic chance that these are the best two teams in the NFC. The Saints, I think, are that good.
Yeah, the Saints are very good. I think they're a playoff team. I think with the Cowboys looking bad without Dak, they are undoubtedly a playoff team. No matter how you spin it, you could be like, oh, they struggled against the Falcons. Yeah, but also they came back and won the game in the second half, and all their pieces that needed to look good looked good, maybe aside from their defensive line. The Bucs, like I said earlier, they're going to have a complete game. I think starting on the offense, you have to capitalize on red zone trips. You cannot give the Saints an inch because I don't get it, but they can just beat our defense. I think our defense. I'm confident in the defense. Let me say, I don't think they're going to run willy-nilly on them or anything, but it's not going to be an easy one. I think it's going to be a much more open. I can't say open. That doesn't make any sense. Like a how do I want to say it? The defense is going to struggle a lot more with the Saints offense and the Cowboys offense. I just think that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, and the Saints have playmakers all over the place. You talk about Alvin Kamara, who is dealing with a rib injury right now, so his status is a little bit uncertain. But when he's playing, he's one of the best running backs in the game as a pass catcher and as someone with great vision. The dream of what we want Rashad White to turn into. That's what
Right.
Alvin Kamara is.
Yep.
They've got Michael Thomas back looking healthy. They've got Chris Olave, who was one of the fastest receivers in college, and he's a tough playmaker. He makes those gritty catches that you wish Scotty Miller would make.
Yep.
They've got Jarvis Landry, who is kind of a third guy, and in terms of third guys, he's a really good third option.
Yeah.
So they have playmakers, and they have a quarterback who's not afraid to put the ball out there and take his shots. And we've seen so many go awry, but there are highs that go with the lows that we love to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to catch the end of that game. And I know how the Saints run their offense. It's a lot of dink and dunk stuff, a lot of Taysom Hill early in the game to kind of just drive the football methodically. But if they're down in the game like they were against the Falcons, Jameis, they let him sling it, and he was looking good. He was looking like Jameis without the interceptions, which is a 5,000-yard passer. And he won them that game. I mean, his ability to drive the football with velocity and intent, like he's like, I see you open, I'm throwing it to you now. I see you not even fully open. There's a dude a yard away from you. I see a window, I'm throwing it. And it works for him because he has that velocity. And I think the Saints were able to – I was saying it to my friend. I was like, Jameis in the Bucs offense is a nightmare because I think it's an offense that asks a lot from its quarterback in terms of just gunslinging. You need to be very precise. And it just didn't work for him because his mentality is like, all right, I'm just going to sling it there. And he doesn't see the hanging linebacker. The Saints kind of ignore a lot of that. And then the Falcons are forced to play prevent defense late in the game because they don't want the ball to get passed over their head. And that allows for a lot of that underneath stuff where you don't have to worry about a hanging linebacker. So if the Bucs can get a lead and keep a lead and still put pressure on Jameis, I like the chances. But like I said, it's got to come down to capitalizing on the red zone opportunities for me.
You know what Jameis Winston is? He's the perfect quarterback to test and see what Carlton Davis is going to be this year in terms of interceptions. Because Carlton Davis has to keep his head on a swivel because Jameis is going to throw the ball at him.
Yeah.
And when he's in position to make a play. So can he make that play? Can he get that interception? Because there will be one, at least one, where he can turn around, the ball's right there, make a play, bring it in. This will be a big game for Carlton Davis, who will probably see Mike Thomas a lot. And I think he can guard him for the most part. I don't expect Michael Thomas to run wild by any means. But Carlton Davis has to do more than limit him. I think he's got to make a play in this game and force that ever-elusive interception.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely need turnovers. We got one this game. I think we'll need one or two against the Saints.
And that's assuming the Saints don't force one or two on us because
yes.
This is probably, in my opinion, the best secondary in the NFL. I mean, think
one of them,
Lattimore,
definitely one of them for sure.
Tyrann Mathieu.
On paper, for sure. I just can't say it like it's been one game. I can't.
Sure.
Yeah.
The loss of C.J. Gardner-Johnson takes away from that. But
that was a crazy trade, yeah.
What's even more crazy is his replacement is Justin Evans. I thought he was done.
Look, man, honestly so happy for that guy.
Oh, definitely.
I was a big fan of him. I thought he was really coming into his own when he got injured forever and just didn't play for the last, 2.5 years pretty much. Saints picked him up. He's a starter now, and that's a great story. So I'm super, super happy for Justin Evans. Glad he found a home somewhere else because he was a good player with us.
Yeah, he's a ball hawk. He's a playmaker,
Mm.
and I think he would probably still be here. We probably would have never drafted Antoine Winfield if he had stayed healthy because I thought his body was just not going to hold up in the NFL. I think he had 2 or 3 years where he just physically could not do it.
Yeah, it was bad. It was tough. It was really, really unfortunate. So I hope he can stay healthy. Because when he's on the field, he's an exciting player for sure.
Yeah. So amongst all the Saints hate week drama, that's a feel good story, and I'm really kind of rooting for Justin Evans.
Yeah, me too. I like him a lot. I hope he does well. Not against us, but I hope he does well.
Terrible game this week, but
Yeah.
great season.
Yeah. Comeback player of the year. That's what we want.
So we know what the Saints are. We know this is going to be a challenge. How would you go about taking on the Saints team? What is your game plan to kind of beat this Saints defense who looks very good and limit the Saints offense that is stocked full of playmakers all over the place?
Yeah, I think you find it's tough because their defense is solid all around. I think you do have to target the linebackers. I mean, Demario Davis, he's still there, right?
I believe so.
I mean, yeah, he's still gross. Who's their other linebacker?
Let me pull it up real quick.
Yeah. I can't remember. Oh, my gosh.
So we have Demario Davis, who is one of the most underrated players in football.
Yeah.
He is Levante level talented and Levante David level underrated.
Yeah. I mean, he has, I can't say Levante David level underrated because he has an all-pro within the last 3 years. So, but yeah,
you never hear about him.
No, you don't. He's a stud though.
They also have Pete Warner next to him.
Oh, dang it! I like Pete Warner a lot.
Zach Bond as a depth player.
Yeah, okay. So I was going to say you have to try and test their linebackers, but they have really, really good linebackers. I forgot about Pete Warner. I thought for some reason it was still Alex Anzalone.
Detroit Lion now.
Yeah, forgot about that. But
yeah, this is a strong defense on paper.
It's a really strong defense. I think you're going to have to attack. I mean, you're going to have to running. I think Leonard Fournette's going to have a big game. Just because I know how the Bucs run their offense, and it's a lot through Leonard Fournette, and their defensive line didn't look great. So, like, if we can get some routes with, like, it's that not routes plays with that. It's that play that he scored in the Super Bowl with, where the left guard pulls and blocks the linebacker that's coming over. You know what I'm talking about? Leonard Fournette's rushing touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Ali Marpet pulled, and then he just took it. I think you're going to see that a lot. And then I think you're going to see a lot of like intermediate, like slant routes over the like. It's so hard to describe it. I just because then I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, no, that won't work.
Yeah, there's no good way to go about it, which is part of why the Bucs don't usually beat them.
Also why I'm not an offensive coach. I trust Byron Leftwich though. But at the same time, we have like scored 12 combined points in the last 2 games against these guys. So yeah, I don't know.
No, I think I agree with you. I think this is going to be another Leonard Fournette heavy game. I don't think he'll be nearly as effective this game, but I think he's going to get a similar amount of touches.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably try and attack the middle of the defense, which I don't want to say it's a weak point, but I mean, if I'm picking out a weak link in the whole defense, Shy Tuttle, he's a good player, but you got to pick someone.
Yeah, like I don't know. It's hard.
Yeah, run right at Marcus Davenport. I mean, these aren't great options, but there aren't great options. I think the Bucs are going to have to take a fair amount of deep shots. This is a game that Mike Evans has to get his in.
Yeah, I agree. I think you look at it when we've had success against the Saints, that has happened.
Think to the Ryan Fitzpatrick game where Evans absolutely burns Lattimore and he falls right on his face. We need to play like that.
We do. We definitely do need to play like that. Another Julio Jones deep ball, I would be very happy about. Anyone deep ball, that'd be great.
You know who I could see if he's active having a big game is Scotty Miller. This is the kind of game where I would love to see 3 wide receivers, Julio, Gage, and
You're right.
Evans to the left. Put Scotty Miller alone on the right and just let him cook.
Just let him cook. Yeah, you're right. You're definitely correct. This would be the prime Scotty Miller game.
But
he might be active. We're unsure yet, but
I hope so. Perriman did not impress last week.
No, yeah.
But you need those kind of contributions from the other guys, from your depth players, when you're going against a great defense like this.
Absolutely.
What about on the other side? How would you slow this Saints offense down?
I really like the game plan they had against the Cowboys, which was really trust your DBs, let the linebackers rush a lot. I don't think that's going to fly in this game, really. I think you're going to really need your linebackers to be coverage guys because, like I said, the Saints are a big kind of dink and duck team. They like to bring in Taysom Hill for some run plays. You can't really vacate the middle of the field like that because they'll just eat you up. So I think Levante David and Devin White are going to have big games in coverage, especially in like shallow zones. And then maybe as the game gets longer and goes on, you can pass off some of that coverage to the safeties and start rushing them. I mean, they're going to get rushes anyway, like pass rushes, because that's just how the Bucs operate. And you're going to see JTS drop. You're going to see Anthony Nelson drop in coverage, and those guys rush. But I think the key of it is just have good shallow zone coverage from your linebackers, from your corners, whoever it might be, and then let your safeties keep everything in front of them.
Yeah, I think that's always a good way to go when you're talking about Jameis Winston. He struggles with the middle of the field sometimes. Yeah. I always flash back to that game a few years ago when he played against the Colts, and Darius Shaquille Leonard had a couple of interceptions.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah.
And we could see that this week. I mean, this seems like a prime game for Levante David to pick off Jameis Winston and just drop him back a little bit. He got his hands on a pass last week and deflected it way into the air for an almost interception.
Yep.
So I think that's a really good way to attack this Jameis Winston-led offense. I think another way is just let your pass rushers eat. Looking at the Saints left tackle, currently James Hurst, that's not good.
Nope.
That's a Shaq Barrett win, a Joe Tryon-Shoyinka win all day.
Yeah, you put Shaq Barrett there all game, and you don't even think about it.
So I think, honestly, I don't think I'd want to see anything too complicated in this game. Just let your corners cover when I think they can match up pretty well. Talking about Antoine Winfield on Jarvis Landry, yep. Carlton Davis on Michael Thomas. I think those are pretty equal matchups. I feel pretty comfortable there.
And then Jamel Dean on their speed guy, Chris Olave. Speed on speed there. It makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I am worried about the double moves there.
Yeah. And
anything else?
That's going to test Mike Edwards, who, he's a ball hawk, and hopefully it's not a feast or famine kind of situation, but he's earned some trust in the back end.
Absolutely. I mean, I've said it, he just needs to be on the field because that guy knows how to play.
All right. So do you want to do bold predictions for this game first, or do you want to do final score predictions first?
I'll do final score predictions are always hard.
Let's do the bold predictions then. Let's do 3 hot take bold predictions for this game.
Okay. My first bold prediction is that Michael Thomas has under 75 yards receiving.
All right.
I think Carlton's going to do his thing.
Yeah, I think as much flack as Mike Evans gets against Lattimore, Michael Thomas is not great against Carlton Davis.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so I'm definitely on board with that.
Yep.
My first one, winner of this game doesn't score more than 20 points.
I second that.
Yeah, I think we're going to see similar offensive struggles from the Bucs. We've already talked about what this Bucs defense is and how good it is. I think this is going to be a similar look of last week, just a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, I mean, earlier I said the last 2 games the Bucs have played against the Saints, they scored like a combined 9 points. I think the last 2 games we played against the Saints have scored like a combined 20. Like it's not that 31-3 game, like that was more than 2 games ago in Tampa was bad, but last year it was very low score games. So I definitely agree with that. For me, I'm going to flip it over to the offensive side. I think Leonard Fournette is going to have another 100-yard rushing game. I think he's going to have at least one touchdown on the ground.
All right. I think this is going to be another Lenny heavy week, so I could absolutely see it. I'm going out on a limb for this one, and I want it to be true. This is the week, Keeft touchdown week.
Wow.
Yep.
Whoa.
I know. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think that score is going to come from Keeft.
That's crazy. Why not Otten?
Honestly, because I think they'll be expecting it more. Okay. I see it as Keeft lines up as a wing or a fullback, and he goes left while the rest of the offense goes right, leaks out.
Yeah, the classic touchdown, something like that. Tight end leak.
Yep, I think it's going to be something weird like that, and Keeft's just going to be the forgotten man, wide open.
I would love that. That'd be awesome. Hopefully you can catch it. I don't really know.
But, yeah, we'll see. That's the only thing I'm afraid of.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, man, I just got to go back to my guy, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. I think he's going to have a sack and 2 tackles for loss. I'm going to keep going until he meets my bold predictions because that guy, I just think he's just going to get better as it goes on. So,
yeah, we talked about the Saints left tackle situation. This could be a really good opportunity for JTS.
And even like with how much they mix around their defensive line, him against like Cesar Ruiz, still like a really, really good matchup that I think favors JTS.
All right, last bold prediction. Bucs offensive line with 4 new starters don't allow a sack.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yep, I think that trend continues. The only one I'm really afraid of on that line is Cam Jordan, and he's getting a little older. We'll see what he has left.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought Cam Jordan's been kind of lessening in play the last couple of years. Still good, no doubt in my mind. But like with how good the Bucs offensive line has been, I thought they should handle him. But he, just like the Saints, just has our number. I think he just knows how to get into our backfield, unfortunately. But
yeah, he bodied Tristan Wirfs last year, and I thought he was running out of steam last year. So
yep, we'll see. Score predictions.
Did you give a third hot take? You had Lenny, you had Joe Tryon-Shoyinka,
and Mike Thomas under 75 yards.
Like that, yeah. All right.
Yeah. I think the final score is going to be, I think it's going to be a close game. Like you said, low scoring. I think it's going to be 17-13 Bucs.
All right, I like it. My prediction is going to be same ballpark, and you can find that on Bucs Report. Did a game preview coming out, I think, tomorrow morning, so you can find all the whys of my prediction. But I'm going to go with 20-16 Saints. This is a show me league. Bucs got to show me they can beat them in New Orleans right now.
Yeah, I that's fine with me. I agree. Like I was the same thing with the Rams. I was like, I'm going to say the Rams until they beat us, and I probably said I'm going to say the Saints until they beat us. But I really want the Bucs to win, so I'm just trying to will it into existence at this point. So
I respect it, and
yeah,
I want it, but I've been burned too many times.
Yeah.
But I think this is a game that could go anyone's way. I think Either team matches up well against the other. This is going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is going to do it for us on this episode of the Creamsicle Chronicles podcast. As always, we really appreciate you guys coming and listening, talking about Bucs football with us, even if it's just on like your car ride to work. But as always, we're here every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. live. You can find it on both of our Twitters. We'll tweet it out every week.
Garrett, what is your Twitter, just so people know?
Yeah, my Twitter is at NFL Ballard. JT, what is yours?
Mine is at Icewater Olson.
There you go. Follow us both. Keep up to date with Bucs stuff. JT's writing more articles than me at the time. School is being a bit annoying, but I'll always be here for the podcast. As always, go Bucs. Can't wait for the game Sunday.
Go Bucs. 2-0. Here we come. Maybe.
Hope so. You think 1-1.
That's all right. I think they'll still win the division. All right. Peace.